Hey y'all, so today I am going to talk about performance femininity. I'm talking about performance femininity because I see a lot of content out there with a focus on how to be more feminine and how to do this and how to do that and how to be a feminine woman. And I'm speaking as somebody who considers myself a feminine woman, that if you need all of that content to tell you how to be feminine, you are not connected to your own inner feminine enough to even know what that expression should look like for you, because the personal feminine expression of every woman is totally different. There is no way to do it. There's no rule book for women. For men, it's totally different, because there is a way to be masculine and there is a way to be to do that. So a really good book example that I like to give is the book called Warrior, Lover, Magician, King, or something like that. And I'll put it in the description of this video just so you guys can have that. It's an amazing book, but that's a book that basically lays out what it means to be a masculine man and to be healthy in that way. And for men, that is important. It's important to kind of have that like rule book and that kind of foundation of like, it's a structure, basically. How to be a man there's a structure to it. For women, there is no such structure. So the feminine as an energy is total chaos. It's total creativity. It's total life, and it's multifaceted. So from that, you can't get structured how to be a feminine woman, because there's no such thing. And this is why I think so many women rail against that feminine energy content, is because it's bullshit. It's masculine energy disguised as feminine energy, basically. It's like, how to be a feminine woman in 3 steps. You can't do that with women. You can't put feminine energy into a box like that. You can't break it down into steps. Okay, because feminine energy completely defies that. It's chaos. It's not structured at all. It's chaos. Who am I? I'm Carly. I am a life coach. I help women, spiritual, ambitious women, get out of people pleasing and get into their really self-confident, self-trusting space in their lives. What is performative femininity and how to spot it? So performative femininity kind of comes from this old world feminine manipulation tactic, which is rooted in survival. And women for thousands of years, because of basically men's domination of women for a long time, men have seen women as property. Men have said, as you know, you're a woman, you're weaker than me, you're smaller than me, you're going to do as I say, you're going to do what I want you to do, you're going to do it how I want you to do it, and you're not going to get to have your own say in this. Okay, so that's where performative femininity is manipulation. It is a manipulation tactic to get what you want, and this is still being taught in like these kind of feminine energy guru circles, where they're like, how to get men to do what you want, how to be a manipulator, how to be that girl, how to be a dark feminine woman, and all that stuff. And I have a video on dark femininity that I'll link here, where you can go in and look on my opinions and see my opinions about dark femininity and how it's not actually a thing and how it's bullshit. The reason that women have manipulated or are manipulative is because we didn't have any power. You know, when a man is controlling you, a man has more power than you. So the only way to get anything from him is to manipulate him. And you manipulate him by basically becoming what he wants, and then like withholding, and then playing all these games and doing all this like really shitty kind of like toxic stuff, like toxic abusive stuff, to be honest, where you're kind of stringing him along, and then you're like giving and taking, you're hot and cold. It's intermittent reinforcement is what it's called psychologically, and it is an abuse tactic. There's a lot of that like feminine manipulation, and then you can, oh yes, I speak so softly. You're like manipulating the way that you look, your body language, the way that you speak, your tone of voice. You're doing like all this etiquette stuff, and you're doing it so that you can get it to a certain level in society, or so that you can get a certain reaction from a man, so that you can get something from a man, protection, marriage, whatever it is that like you're thinking that you want. You feel like you can't get it by directly asking for it or directly going for it, so you have to manipulate. So we are no longer in that old world survival mode. The feminine has evolved out of that spiritually. Physically, we're still kind of there. Like, there's still some pockets in Western culture where women are still in that survival mode and need to rely on the man, or they feel like they are. Like, in the East, there's still a lot of that going on. All of this, like, feminine manipulation stuff, you can spot it because it's inauthentic, it's fake. There's this underlying belief that beauty is pain, beauty is suffering, and to be a woman is to be a performer. A healthy woman does not perform. A healthy woman does not manipulate. A healthy woman does not need to do any of those things to get what she wants. Okay, because the men around her are healthy men, and healthy men don't put up with manipulative women. But when you are a manipulative woman, the only kind of men you are attracting is unhealthy men. And I'm speaking from, again, I was a sex worker for 10 years. I'm speaking from direct experience in this. I was manipulating the shit out of men for 10 years. Like, I know exactly what I'm talking about here. The only men who responded to me, like, to that manipulative person, were other manipulative men who had issues. They had issues. The only way that they would respond to me was if I manipulated them, and they were manipulative in return. They were abusive, they were avoidant, they were detached. It was just a mess. So when a woman is performing femininity, what that means is she's putting on a show instead of being herself. And I know there are feminists out there who argue that anytime a woman does anything with her appearance or anything traditionally feminine, that it's like performance. That's not true. Performance comes from a place of inauthenticity within yourself. So if you are living as an authentic person and you know who you are and you know what you want, your femininity is going to look however it looks for you. And I'll go into how to find that later in this video. Like, I've tried doing the performative femininity thing, so I know what I'm talking about here. I know the difference between performing and the genuine, like, expression of femininity within me. So performative femininity, how you can spot it within yourself is you feel like you're putting on a show, you feel inauthentic, and it feels like you are kind of giving up something in order to get something else. So it feels like a trade-off, it feels manipulative, and it feels like a transaction. Like, if I do things this way, then I'm going to get this result. Anyone telling you, like, this is how the feminine is, and this is what the feminine is, and this is how the feminine presents herself. She only wears pink frilly dresses, and she only speaks in a soft voice, and she only walks in a certain way, never speaks directly what she wants. She only, like, flirts and bats her eyes and, like, mentally, like, sends the signals to the man, and that's how a woman communicates. Anyone who is telling you that is full of bullshit, and it's operating from old world feminine abuse tactics, basically. And this was a survival mode for women for a really long time. So it's really baked into our DNA to still kind of operate like this. It is something that you're going to have to unlearn. So how femininity is expressed is unique to each woman. I think I've already touched on this a little bit, but if anyone is telling you how to be feminine, they are in masculine mode. Basically, they're trying to quantify the feminine and put it into little boxes, and the feminine resists that because the feminine's chaos. You can't put women into a box. You can't say all feminine women act this way and behave this way and they're ladylike and they don't swear, because that's not true. That has nothing to do with being feminine. That is just like a British etiquette thing. That's like an etiquette thing from the past. That's and there's definitely, like, there's a level of respect and dignity that comes from, like, knowing yourself and kind of having self-respect that I think is really what they're going for. They're not people actually want to be free. They don't want to have all these rules and constraints around their behavior. And if you feel like you need all these rules and kind of constraints around your behavior, kind of like a corset, like sucking you in, that is not something that I would consider, that's not freedom. That's not feminine energy. So feminine energy at its core is an energy of freedom. It's an energy of multi-dimensionality, and there's many, many facets to it. There's absolutely no one right way for a woman to be. And throughout your life, you're going to have many different expressions of yourself. Not even just throughout your life, but throughout your day, throughout your month, throughout the year, throughout different phases of your life. So the mother expresses differently than the flirt, for example. Feminine energy, I mean, of course it can be defined on, like, a spiritual level, but it's not something that you can define as one thing. So feminine energy is the energy of mystery. It's the energy of life. It's multifacetedness. It's creation energy. It's life energy. A lot of this, like, performative, like, Performative stuff it's that good girl thing where it's like, I'm the perfect girl, I'm the soft girl, I'm the nice girl, I'm the pretty girl, I am the good girl, I'm the perfect girl, I'm that girl. That is not what the feminine is. That's maybe an aspect of how you want to express yourself. The true expression of you is never going to be fully that one thing. It's always going to have elements of it, and then elements of other things as well. So all of that, like the aesthetic stuff, that's performance femininity. Okay, so if you're like, I need to fit into this aesthetic so guys can like me, if you're doing the performance femininity, like, so you can get married, so guys can like you, so people can like you, so you can be the better person. This is one I see a lot, is women will kind of tamper down their ferocity and their genuine like fierceness, so that they can be perceived as this nice woman. So they'll be very like, no, you know, like, I don't acknowledge that. I don't acknowledge any negativity. You know, but that's not real. That's not part of the feminine. The feminine has an aspect of rage as well. So you need, in order to be like fully in your divine feminine, you have to be in touch with all of these emotions, with all of these aspects within yourself, with the dirty, like, human aspects, you know, with the blood, the gore, the guts, the jealousy, the anger, the hatred, the rage. You have to be in touch with these aspects of yourself to be a healthy woman. You can't just be the nice girl, the pretty girl, the perfect girl, the soft girl, the good girl, that girl. The bad girl is also another one that we can touch on. The broken girl, you know, the tortured girl. I think I have a post on my Instagram about this. The entitled woman, it's called the entitled woman syndrome, where it's like, you're the bad girl, the broken girl, the torture girl, the Lana Del Rey kind of vibe thing, you know, like, this is all performance femininity. It has nothing to do with actual like divine feminine. Like, these all can be aspects of you, but to identify yourself with one of them fully, you know, is insanity, and you're just boxing yourself in. It's a mental disorder. Let's get into how to stop performing and find your own inner feminine. You heal your heart. That is kind of the thing about the feminine. It's open to everything. That's why it is so multidimensional. It's so multifaceted. It is open to everything. It's open to life. It's open to death. It's open to pain. It's open to suffering. It's open to love. It's open to beauty. It's open to everything. It is just living from the heart. It's heart-led openness. Like, a powerful woman you see is just this open being. She's open to it all. She says, I'm here for everything. I'm here for all of life. I want it all. I want everything. That's what passion is. Saying yes to life. That yes energy is so magnetic. Healing your heart and healing whatever is keeping you from being open is going to get you more into your femininity than any feminine energy coach is ever going to, or feminine energy content, or trying to wear pretty pink dresses, or getting your nails done, doing your hair and makeup. None of that is going to get you into your feminine energy. What's going to get you into your feminine energy is healing your heart, so that you can live from an open-hearted place. So if you imagine the most feminine thing in the universe is actually a black hole. It's magnetic, it pulls you in, it's mysterious, it's like the source of all life. The most masculine thing in the universe is light, by the way. Light is direct, it reveals, it is structure. Healing the feminine wounds around openness, it's especially useful to heal your wounding around men and around being a female. So having a female body, there's a lot of trauma there, because we inherit all of the pain and suffering that our grandmothers do, and this is science-based. This is something that has been proven. We inherit 13 generations of trauma. You've inherited all of the trauma of your mothers. You were in your grandmother's womb. The process of like having a body in and of itself is very traumatic. So coming from spirit, when you come down into a body, it's very jarring. And I don't know if you guys remember, I very vividly remember being a baby and having like socks put on my feet, and it being one of the most uncomfortable experiences of my life. I was like, get this shit off of me. This is stifling. I hate it. Being in a body is very limiting, because as a spirit, you're this infinite energy. And then when you come down into this very limited perspective, you're completely cut off from all of that infinite energy. And now you're trapped into this like flesh prison, basically. And then there is the experience of puberty, which for a lot of people is very, very hard. If you're looking around today, there are a lot of people who have issues with puberty, because it's so hard to kind of be forced by your body into into a sex base. That sex itself is limited. You are not, you can't be both. You can't be male and female. You can't be a man and a woman. You're either one or the other, and I know that's not politically correct. We're not supposed to say that today, but when it comes to gender and like energy, of course, everybody has masculine and feminine energy, but nobody has more than one sex, even intersex people. And we're not gonna go into that debate. This is just science. You cannot be more than one sex. You are either a man or a woman. You're a male or a female. And that is limiting. That's hard. It's hard to deal with. And that's why a lot of people have issues with that and have issues with what I just said and what science says, which is that we are limited by our bodies, and the female body itself, because of all the oppression, because of all the trauma, because of thousands and thousands of years of male control over women. It is hard to have a female body. It's traumatic to have a female body. Not only are we weaker than men physically, that weakness has been used against us and is still used against us today. And we're inheriting all of that. We're inheriting all of the memories of the things that have happened to our mothers and our great-grandmothers and them before that, so it's a lot. We're inheriting a lot of pain. And so to become open-hearted as a woman, you have to be open to that pain. You have to be open to the fact that that pain is real, and the fact that this is the reality for you, is that you are weaker than men. You cannot fist fight a man, and come out winning for the most part. And men are stronger than you. A man who is using his full force against you, you are not going to win that. You're not going to win that fight. I think there was a study that was done that was where like the top female athletes raced like 14-year-old boys. The 14-year-old boys won. And it doesn't mean we're deficient. It doesn't mean as a woman you're less than a man. So I don't want you to take it that way, but I do want you to see that the reality is that your body is just not as strong and it's not as fast as a man's body. You are superior in other ways to men, but men have tried to diminish that superiority in women so that they could control them, specifically our emotional and spiritual superiority. We are way more energetically powerful than men, and a lot of women have denied, rejected, and disowned that aspect of themselves because they want to be like men, so that's kind of what the feminist movement is. It's basically this deep wounding around being a female and being a woman and men, so to be open as a woman, to really, really find your feminine energy, you have to heal these deep, deep, deep feminine wounds that are part of your lineage and part of being a woman. If you have a female body, you have this trauma, by the way. You don't escape that. You are a female on this earth. You're part of being a woman is inheriting all of this trauma from men and from patriarchy and from how your body has been a disadvantage to you. And of course, we can go into like periods and things like that and how traumatic it is to be in a workplace, in a 9-to-5 workplace, in a masculine structured society that doesn't allow room for you to go with the natural flow of your body. That's probably one of the most heartbreaking things about today is like, yeah, women have all these freedoms, but how free really are we when the structure is set up for a man? It's not really set up for a woman's freedom. It's set up for a man's freedom. And so we're completely ignoring the fact that women are so different than men, and ignoring the fact that, we need rest every month. We go through a year every month. We go through the cycle of a year every month. Men don't do that. Men go through the cycle of a year every year, so it's a lot. There's a lot of pain there to heal. There's a lot of trauma there to heal, and healing that one by one as it comes up for you is going to be the most helpful thing for you to get back into your own feminine energy. And there is no getting around that. You can't skip this step by wearing pretty frilly dresses, putting on lipstick, and doing your hair and nails. That's not feminine energy. That's not what femininity is. Femininity is not putting on makeup and a dress. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you. It's not etiquette. It's not swearing. It's not speaking in a soft tone of voice. It's not getting your eyelashes done. It's not having a girly apartment. Femininity is open-heartedness. And it's like almost a vulnerability, but as this massive strength. It is the most powerful force in the universe. When you think of like feminine strength, don't think of like how hard you can be and how tough you can be and how you can get through it. That's masculine strength. That's a masculine thing. And of course, we all have masculine energy in us. We all need that to be human. You need both masculine and feminine energy. However, when it comes to really finding your own femininity and your own feminine energy, you go to the ocean and you look at the ocean and you see the strength of the ocean. That is the feminine. That's that feminine energy that you're looking for. You're not looking to become hard. You're not looking to become, rigid. You're not looking to like punch a guy in the face. You're looking to become like the ocean. There's so much strength in that water. There's so much strength and so much depth and so much mystery there. So that's like the feminine energy. That's that feminine force. It's that feminine strength. And there's so much life in there. It's life and death. The ocean, it's just this huge ecosystem of life and death. And so when you think of feminine strength and feminine power, in comparison to masculine power, the feminine is much more awe-inspiring. And I'm not saying masculine power is not awe-inspiring as well. I think we need to acknowledge the fact that the healthy masculine is so needed on this planet, and it's just so beautiful. I absolutely love masculine energy. Feminine strength, and that is this kind of willingness to be vulnerable and this willingness to be open to everything, including pain, and including your own vulnerability and your own weakness. And I know that's hard. It's really hard because we're taught to be so hard, like in society, and we've had to be so hard. It's not even something that we're necessarily taught. It's something that we have to be in order to survive. So it's not, there's no deficiency in you if you're hardened. It's not that you're deficient. It's not that there's something wrong with you if you're hard and masculine. That's just how you have to be to survive. You actually, you can't survive on just feminine energy alone. You can't survive, it's argued that you can survive on masculine energy alone, but you're not going to thrive on masculine energy alone. So to thrive, it actually requires feminine energy. But you actually cannot survive on just feminine energy because you'll get nothing done. And that's kind of like the double standard, or unfortunate double standard. Heal the wounds in your heart that are keeping you from being open. That's really the number one thing that is going to get you in touch with that feminine energy, is healing that wounding and getting really, really in touch with that vulnerable aspect of you, that it's kind of like the little girl aspect. So if you make friends with your inner child really, really well, she'll tell you all about how vulnerable she feels, and she'll lead you to that openness and where you need to heal and what you need to do. So do your shadow work, do whatever you need to do to crack yourself open. Also, you can break down your ideas of the gender roles of women and discard everything that you don't want, that doesn't serve you. And you can always come back and revisit this as you open yourself and you heal more. Make a list of everything that you know about femininity based on your culture, based on society, based on how you grew up. What is a feminine woman to you? What does that mean? Make a list of that. Write it all down, and then go through the list and say, is this me? Do I want this? And then get rid of everything that you don't want and just keep the things that you do want for yourself. Defining femininity for yourself. This is the other one. This is the last step. Well, not second to last step. Yeah. Defining femininity for yourself is so you make this list of what is feminine in your culture, and you say, oh, is this really what I want? Is this what I think femininity is? Throw out everything, just toss it, throw it in the trash, throw it in the garbage, and then from the place of your open-heartedness, choose what you want to do. So does it feel good to paint your nails every day? Does it feel good to get your nails done? Does it feel good to do your hair and makeup? Does it feel good to be more so one of my favorite things is the saying that there are all kinds of beauty, and every kind of beauty is unique. So Christmas lights are beautiful, and so is green tea, but they're two totally different kinds of beauty. So when you start thinking of how your feminine energy shows up, think of it that way, because the essence of feminine energy is beauty. And that doesn't mean necessarily just your appearance, though it can be part of it. Your appearance is part of your how you kind of present yourself to the world, right? And it can be very fun to express yourself that way. So how do you want to show up in the world? What is your expression of femininity? What does that look like for you? Who are you? Who do you want to be? What feels the best to your healed heart? Not to your mind that thinks, oh, if I'm this way I can get this, But to your healed heart that's like, oh, I want to be this way because that feels so right to my soul. That feels so good to me. So finding and defining your version of femininity is something that will just come naturally to you. It's not something you have to work hard at. It's not something you have to study. It's not something you have to, like, buy. You can buy it if you want, but you don't have to. The feminine is freedom. So it's not something that is coming from a place of you have to do things this way, rigid. It's not rigid. It's, what do you want to do today? How do you want to express yourself today? What part of you, what aspect of you is expressing itself right now? What aspect of you is coming through right now? Last, tip is stop listening to femininity coaches and masculinity coaches when you are called to stop doing that. For me, that was I had a perfectly fine understanding of my own feminine expression before I started listening to these people, and listening to them really jumbled me up and made me question all of that. And so I actually wouldn't recommend listening to them at all, and just follow your own heart. So I guess I am grateful that I had that experience, because I've had to get way more rooted back into what I know to be true about myself and know to be true about who I am. So that was a positive. So now I feel like I am stronger in that. I'm stronger in who I was. But there was so much deconditioning I had to do after listening to these horrible people that I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth having to decondition yourself from something. It's like having to heal from trauma, basically. You're having to undo all of this horrible limiting bullshit that has nothing to do with the truth and nothing to do with who you are, when you could just have avoided that by not listening to these people. You know yourself better than they do. They're not going to help you come into your own power about yourself. They might help you come to a little bit more clarity about what you don't want, and I think that's important. But they're not going to help you they don't do the inner work for you. You have to do that inner work for yourself and figure out what's true within yourself. And so you need to be able to recognize what rings true within you and what is false. This is the most natural thing in the world. You do not have to work hard at this. Your healed heart is just going to naturally exude from you. You're just going to be the person that you want to be when you heal your heart. Okay? You're going to be the person that you're here to be when you heal your heart. And that's not a copy of anybody else. It's not mimicking anybody else. It's not like, I'm going to dress like this femininity coach because she gets all the guys. Well, she's just expressing her true self. If you would do that in your own way, and you would find that through healing your own heart, you would have a similar reaction, in your own life, in your own way. It's not going to ever look like hers. Your life is never going to look like somebody else's, so stop mimicking them and stop trying to fit yourself into these boxes that aren't you. Don't do things just because somebody else says you should, or because somebody else thinks it's a good idea, or because it worked for them. You have to do things from your own healed heart. That's it. It's so simple. It's just so natural. This isn't something you have to study. It's not something you have to work for. It's something that just it exudes from you naturally. Just get rid of the bullshit and come back to center. And this is a really long video that's basically telling you just get rid of the bullshit and come back to center. I want to end on the note that no strong man wants a weak woman, and no strong man wants a woman who is manipulating and performing for him. No healthy man wants that. A healthy man does not fall for manipulation. A healthy man is repulsed by manipulation in women, actually. Healthy men want to see you healthy and in your power. They don't want to see you weak. They don't want to see you subjugated. They don't want to see you barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen if that's not what you want. They want you to have what you want. They want what's best for you. They don't want to tell you what to do and how to do it, unless that's what you want. I will be reopening coaching at the end of April 2024. That's this year. So if you're interested in coaching, please hit me up. I have email. I have a calendar app. I have DMs on Instagram. I'm not checking my DMs until the end of this month, because I'm taking a break from social media. So just hit me up. Anyway, I love you. If you have any questions, any comments, do say so in the comments. Oh, I'm not asking for feedback on my videos, by the way. I'm asking for feedback from how you feel in your life. Mwah. Love you. Bye.